Have you ever heard the line, "That's how we've always done it"? It's a particularly common phrase in construction and general contractor world. Today's guest, Brent Durban, he's the owner of Better Exterior Solutions. He takes a different approach. He's a visionary at heart, and he puts people first. So we're going to learn how he employs this system, and it creates a win-win-win experience. Thanks for listening to This Is Jax. If you're a first-time listener, be sure to subscribe, turn on your notifications so you don't miss an episode. Welcome to This Is Jax, a hyper-local podcast. We're going to do our best. We're going to bring on successful business owners, the people who drive the cities, share a lot about what makes our city so great. So you can be confident and comfortable. This is a city that you want to call home. Brent, welcome to This Is Jax. Thanks so much for taking time out of your day to come in here.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So Brent, you own a business, correct? Here in Jacksonville. Better Exterior Solutions, correct?
Absolutely. That's
okay,
it.
Cool. I looked at the website. I've checked it out, and I know we got connected through another, mutual connection who's kind of in a similar industry as us. And so I'm excited to hear more about your story, Better Exterior Solutions, and how you got there and where you are today and what you focus on. So first off, you're from Jacksonville, correct?
I am. Yeah. So I grew up on the west side of town and I've really always been here aside from a short stint in Gainesville,
okay.
which, obviously was incredible, but very much love Jax.
Okay. And what side of town did you grow up on?
Yeah. So the west side, near Normandy area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Which side of town are you on today?
Yeah. So now I live right next to UNF off Kernan.
Okay.
So migrated a little closer to the beach, didn't quite make it over the ditch, but
that side of town too. I imagine with your work, with your business, you're kind of all over the city. And so I don't know if you find this to be true, but that UNF side, St. John's Town Center area, it seems more central. Would you agree?
Correct. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's easy to get everywhere on the interstate. And a lot of our work's coastal. So closer to the beach, the better. Yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. How long have you, when did you start Better Exterior? Yeah, absolutely. It's actually a really cool. I mentioned as I walked in the studio here today, I started about 4.5 years ago. I worked in commercial insurance, and ironically, you guys are located in the same office building I worked at the time. And when I walk out of here, I plan to visit some old colleagues. Yeah, that's kind of where it began. Okay,
sounds good. So you were doing I'm sorry, what was it again?
Yeah, it was commercial insurance.
Commercial insurance. But then you went to building. So what caused the transition from kind of working in that corporate world to owning your own business? Did you do both at the same time, kind of jump started, or did you quit one and go full speed at the other?
Yeah, great question. So I worked in P&C, property casualty insurance. So I was actually trying to help one of my customers get hurricane protection on their property. And I called up a couple numbers on Google to try to find a contractor as this young agent trying to help out an older experienced guy trying to build that relationship. And I couldn't find any contractors that seemed like they were good enough, really, truly. Just there were some people out there that, whether it was overpriced or poor communication, I saw a void in the market, and I put a landing page together and ultimately started to field some opportunities and slowly trickled away from insurance, which I'm very grateful for.
Yeah. So you're there writing up insurance, and then you're trying to find a solution for somebody who had a problem, right? And I'm guessing, did they have some damage or something, or they needed something rebuilt? Is that what it was?
Yeah. So at the time, it was a gentleman from Miami. And so if you're from South Florida and you've been around some terrible storms and you move, you kind of come to Jacksonville, where the mindset around this stuff is a little different. You ask my father, who's been here for his entire life, and he's kind of like also a contractor, ironically, but he's like, we don't really need storm protection. We haven't been hit by a storm since 1964. It was really the first or the last time we've had a direct contact from a hurricane. But if you're from Miami, your attitude's a little bit different. And so this gentleman said he wanted it, and I was out there to try to make it happen. And it's kind of where it began. Okay.
And then now that you have the company, 4.5 years, you said, right? And so it just kind of started with you. How large is it now today?
Yeah, definitely. So we're right at 30 employees now.
Wow.
It's been an amazing ride. We started, it's actually kind of evolved over time. It began as First Coast hurricane shutters, actually. And we were very targeted with hurricane protection. We did that for about 3 years. And about a year and a half ago, we started to make the transition to better exterior solutions so we could do more for our customers.
Okay. So now it's kind of coming together, the full like insurance thing. Cause I'm like, how did we go from insurance to like pergolas?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no doubt.
But the shutters were there in the beginning, and you're right. Shutters here up in Northeast Florida. I grew up in South Florida, Tampa, St. Pete area. So it was like shutters super common. Right. And here, not so much. And when I go in a home, in the real estate world, and I'm showing homes, even some of the people who grew up here, and there's storm shutters on them, they're like, what are these? Just exactly, like blown away at what they are, because you don't see them that often.
Yeah, right? No, it's so true. It's a different mentality. And so really the reason for that is the Florida Building Code, as it makes a ton of sense. So if you look at about south, the line across the state, it's a wind map. It's around St. Augustine,
right? Where
south and below, it's required. So every home, new build construction has protection on it. And then you kind of jump up here into Jacksonville and northern Florida, and that code requirement's not there anymore. And the people in this area are kind of like, well, we must not need it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of unfortunate. Or well, we've been pretty lucky, is the way I'd put it.
Right.
Hopefully we don't need it, but we'll see. I think in time, it's not if, it's when, and hopefully we can keep pushing out that direct hit.
It is fascinating though, that and we're in the middle of hurricane season right now, and how we just, we don't get it that often here. And every time it looks like there's going to be something really big, it just kind of like floats on by. It's one of the benefits of living here. You feel like you're kind of in this bubble. This show is all about This Is Jax and the experience living here. So for the listeners who maybe aren't from here, or the people who are just learning about Florida and they're like, is this where I want to dig my roots in? If you're nervous about storms, that line you just talked about is kind of something you should pay attention to, right?
No doubt. Yeah, absolutely. We've been so fortunate, and, knock on wood over here, like, right. Hopefully that continues to be that way. It's been great in Jax, and it seems to hopefully continue that momentum.
Definitely. Now as a company, you like to say that you think differently, and that your focus is a little bit different. And part of your mission statement, thinking differently to produce better outcomes, right? Yeah. So can you give an example of an innovative approach or strategy that Better Exterior Solutions has implemented to kind of achieve those results for your customers?
Absolutely. So I'm extremely fortunate. I've been mentored by some incredible people here in Jacksonville, and I'm not a contractor. So we do construction, but we have a different mentality. I'm an entrepreneur, a visionary at heart. And so we do things that are a lot different than other contractors. And so an example of that is really our people first focus. And the earned day system is something that we have built internally with our team. And it's a special system that makes sure that we have the most talented craftsmen available. And just at a very high level, the way that it works is our installers in the field can earn up to 8 hours of PTO every single week. That's if and only if projects are completed on time and to a customer satisfaction. If there are any issues on that job, they're not getting that PTO time. And we use it as a reward system, but it also creates accountability, loyalty, and where other contractors are struggling to find good help out there, we've got guys lined up out at the door to come work for our company. And it's really been incredible and part of the reason for our growth.
That's pretty impressive. So it's almost like creating a win-win situation for everybody.
No doubt. Yeah, you nailed it. It's pretty cool, Nate. You hit on the win-win. We talk about creating win-win-wins. And so that's a win for you, the customer, a win for us as the company. And then we're also in the process of setting up a nonprofit and doing some fundraising to create wins for our local community here in Jacksonville.
Okay. Do you, is that like you said, you're in the process of working on that? Is that something that's out of the bag yet? Or are you still kind of keeping the details behind the scenes?
Yeah, no, yeah. Great question. It's funny. Your timing's pretty good. I actually just hired an employee 2 weeks ago to help create that nonprofit. And she's in the process of building out some of the branding and the strategy. We're not releasing all the information yet, but the focus is on mental health and supporting our community and helping others find happiness. Really,
that's really good, and that's pretty impressive. And it's cool that you create that and doing it differently. And you're right. I've grown up around a lot of contractors. Sometimes feel a little contractor-ish myself. Just insane work hours, constantly going, sun up to sundown. And I've been around friends who their dads are contractors or own different businesses, and workers always talk about the guy running the show being a slave driver or whatever. So no doubt, sounds like you're taking a totally different approach, that people-focused leadership, right? Which is crucial. Do you have any, other than that, the paid time off stuff, do you have, any type of story or an example of a time where putting the employee first really led to a positive outcome?
Sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that maybe not a direct answer to this question, but something I think that's powerful. It's more than the success and growth from a revenue standpoint. It's something that brings me so much pride and joy. It's the way that this system has impacted our people. And so if you think about 8 hours of PTO every single week, that's a lot of PTO. And so our guys are actually, we've got a coaching mentality that we take with our employees. So quick step to the side here, and I'll get back to this, but our mission statement is actually being our best. I say that's not to be confused with being the best. You can only be your best. Yeah. Really focus on this concept of personal growth, not just professionally, but also personally. And so one thing that we do is we do a quarterly check-in with our installers, and we sit down and say, Nate, you've got 120 hours of PTO saved up here. What do you want to do with it? Yeah. And like, man, we know you're working every single weekend and sending money back home oftentimes, but you should really take some time off. Take a day, take a long weekend at the very least. We'll pay you out the PTO as a bonus, but we really encourage our guys to have work-life balance. And what that has done is created incredible loyalty. I mean, we've got guys that are making $20 an hour taking paternity leave, guys that are going back home and visiting their family in Colombia who haven't seen them in 5 years because they haven't been able to save appropriately and take a week off for Christmas time. And we, that loyalty that comes with that is not quantifiable, and something I'm super proud of. Priceless is what I say.
That's really good. I really like that. A focus that I have that's similar is a focus on rest. Rest is so important, and it's hard. It is hard when you're in these industries. Your competition level is super high, right? Okay. And so you want to deliver a great product, and you want it to be on time. And sometimes you feel, I don't know if you ever feel this way, but you kind of feel the pressure from, the client, like they might be calling at 8:00 at night or whatever it is, first thing in the morning. And so making sure you protect that rest is so important. And it sounds like you're not just worried about your rest, but you're worried about the rest for your team, which overall creates just such a good environment. I really love that. And I like what you said there, the loyalty that comes with that. That's a lesson for anybody out there starting a business or something. The loyalty that comes with that is, what did you say exactly? It was,
it's priceless.
Yeah, priceless.
And so there's a lot of statistics that talk about engagement with employees. We all know you can sit, it's like kind of like the 20-80 rule. You can sit at your desk and be working 20% of the time and maybe accomplish the same things. And we really focus on, hey, like let's get things done. Let's enjoy ourselves as well. And finding that balance and rest is a huge part of that. Absolutely.
It's really good. Shifting gears a little bit out of the business world. I mean, you've got a successful business here, and it seems like it's doing well. Obviously it's grown for you over the past, really a short amount of time, which is awesome. Yeah. And it sounds like you're really taking care of your employees. So being here in Jacksonville, I know you grew up here and I know you live here. So maybe you're a little bit biased. I've been here like 20 years, so I'm not going anywhere. But, how has the city helped the growth of your business and allowed you to, really be where you are today?
Definitely. Jacksonville is incredible. I'll say I haven't always had that mentality and loving where I'm at. For a long time, and in some ways, I blame being in commercial insurance, which is where I had no passion, no joy, and the focus for mental health and expansion for us is a lot of my own passion with that. I thought that at a certain level of success, I'd find happiness and realize that's not dollars. It's doing more for others. And I'd say a couple of years ago, you talked to me, we have this conversation. It's kind of like grass is greener,
Yeah.
And that's since then I've been able to shift that mentality and really look at how beautiful Jacksonville is. I've spent time in other cities, and it's there's everything here. There truly is. It's just a matter of seeking out where you fit and where is the best place for you personally. And we have it all, and it's beautiful because we're growing. There's $8 billion, I think, is somewhat close to the figure of investment in downtown coming here. Right? We're on the cusp of so much opportunity, which is fun.
I've been really excited. Are you a member of any local like chapters or clubs, like Jack's Chamber, for example, anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're involved in NEPA. We do the Mininak is kind of my prime kind of passion spot. And are you familiar with Mininak?
I'm not sure I've heard that.
Yeah. No, it's mostly older gentlemen. I'd say I'm maybe the youngest guy in there by 20 years. But
yeah,
it's a lot of guys. So we meet on Mondays, and it's really kind of like passion, nonprofit focused, and give back to the community. But they have speakers come in and things like that. And it's a lot of fun.
It's pretty cool. I might have to talk to you a little bit more about that after.
No doubt.
So in your opinion, you're talking about the development, the investment coming. And so a little bit of a city pulse check here. In your opinion, what recent development or initiative, what really captures the direction that we're headed?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you just look at the money going into downtown, and you see so many of these other big cities have almost like fully developed.
Yeah.
And so Jacksonville, the bones that we have, the opportunity that we have, it's really something very unique here in Florida. We've also got some great tax advantages and things that reason there's so much outside investment money. And I really believe that we're already seeing such explosive growth, but it's on the cusp of so much more and being somewhere very special.
Right. And one thing that comes up, a reoccurring theme that keeps coming up on the show, is you touched on it actually, was like, hey, if you got me a few years ago, I might not have the same opinion. And then that's something that happens. I call it a slow burn, falling in love with Jacksonville. Right. And then the other thing is, because we move a little bit slower, the city pace, it's crazy. We're such an old city here in Florida, but if you look at it compared to Tampa or Orlando or Miami, it's like, wow, we still have so much room to develop. We just moved at a slower pace, and which is a really exciting time to be here now that's happening. And then I think a third theme that we keep hearing is how we're kind of like Southern, even though we're the north of the Florida. It's like the rest of Florida isn't really considered like that Southern, like either hospitality or way of life, but we kind of get it. But with all the benefits of living in Florida, like you mentioned, the tax benefits, the weather, everything else that comes. So, I don't know if you share any of those.
No doubt. Absolutely. I think you nailed it. I mean, so people that I talk to that maybe haven't been to Jacksonville might come think of Miami. Most people have done it. That's right. And it's just like, that's a completely different world than what Jacksonville is. We're much closer to the southern states, and the attitude and the welcoming community is just beautiful here. And as you said, we kind of have a good old boy, like slower rise to how we interact and do things, but it's relationship driven.
Yeah.
And I think it's beautiful. I think it's and we're on the cusp again of so much more. The amount of investment that's coming to this city really shows that we're not the only ones sitting here at this table just having a chat about it.
Yeah.
Others are around the country.
Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more, and I'm so excited about it. So that's kind of the future of Jacksonville. We know it has a bright future. What about your business? What about Better Exterior? Sure. What's in the future there?
Oh, no doubt. So much. I'm conquer the world mentality, and I mean that in the best of ways. Conquer, to me, I've talked about redefining success as one of my ultimate goals. And I used to see success as money and power, and now I see success as my way that I can impact others. And I recognize that money doesn't bring you happiness. It's about sharing sharing what you have and helping others become their best. And just very excited. Our company's 20% year-over-year growth. I don't see that stopping anytime soon. We're expanding. We've got more and more partnerships coming online. And for myself, I'm so excited about the nonprofit work that I intend to do and kind of the bigger mission that we're working on.
Well, I can't wait to see what the nonprofit stuff. I'm always interested in that as well. So going back a little bit to Jacksonville and our city, I know we've talked about a ton of positives about it. Sure, obviously, we like it and we agree with that. But, regarding the future, if you had power to make one change, if you had the power to just enhance the city in any way, what is something you would change or that you still want to see improved upon here?
No doubt. Yeah, that's a great question. I appreciate you highlighting that it's not perfect as no place is. Jacksonville can be difficult or challenging because of the size is really tough. So I've always joked with people, you really find out who your friends are because you're 20, 30 minutes away from each other. It's not as simple as like in Gainesville where I lived, you walk 5-10 minutes or drive right around the corner and you're meeting up for a beer or a burger. And Jax, most of my friends are really far away. And as we all know, you get busy. It's hard to do that.
It is tough. So maybe transportation or better places? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Better. I mean, a railroad system, things like that. I mean, we're talking like long-term major infrastructure investment. And it's not Jax that needs that, but that would be helpful for sure.
I know they've talked about it and they've talked about doing lines from like downtown out to the beaches or something. Have you heard anything on that?
I haven't. It's funny. One of my best friends from college is they're down there and they work for Brightline, like a C-suite kind of guy. And like, I've been trying to get him to move to this direction. So, I'll let you know, we can put that, we make that happen. Okay. But I really truly think that it's not if, it's when. It'll be necessary with the growth that we see. And that's exciting. But, we're talking 30-year type stuff at this point. It's
probably a ways down the way. Hey, of all where you, I know you're out at the beaches a lot. For sure. I love the beach, and there's so many places I love to frequent out there. I've got my top 3, my favorites, the stuff like, I think my brother just came to town and I was like, he's like, where should I go? And I'm like firing off this list. So for you, if someone, is coming to the area, maybe just visiting and they don't want to stay at Margaritaville, they want something different, of all the hidden gems.
Sure. Yeah.
What do you got?
I appreciate that. I think Boneyard Beach, right? When you get into like Hannah Park and those type of areas, our outdoors are really next level. I think if compared to some other cities and states, like you don't get what we have. I think when you're here for your entire life, you kind of don't appreciate it anymore. Yeah. I was actually recently at Matanzas Inlet, which is a little further south, and there's great boating areas, Fort George, things like that. It's beautiful. And so the river system too, if you enjoy boating, this is the place to be.
That's so much. Yeah. Brent, I love hearing all that stuff. I agree with you on so many different levels. I'm excited to see, where you go. I love your approach to business and can't wait to see it go further. Can't wait to see the stuff you're involved in. For the listener out there, somebody who wants to get in touch with you, maybe that's to have a conversation like this, or whether they need something from your business, what's the best way, one-stop shop to point them in the right way?
Definitely. Yeah. So our website is pretty simple. It's betterexteriors.com. So you can pop on there. We've got obviously contact forms and things. The phone number is 904-902-4999. That's the office. And if you want to get with me direct, my cell phone is 904-307-0793. Happy to have discussions with anyone that are interested to come here to Jacksonville and give you my transparent feedback for sure.
Love it. Brent, thanks again for coming on, having a little conversation with us, telling your story about Jacksonville.
No doubt. Yeah. Thanks for having me, Nate. Wishing you the best.
All right. And thank you for listening. We'll get you next time.